All right, hello there, Randomizer fans, and welcome to this playoff matchup, the ALTTPR League Open here on SpeedGaming. My name is Tyler Saltz. I am joined in the booth by Ben Creighton. Ben, how are you today?
I'm doing good. It's always exciting when we're on to a new phase of the playoffs because all the settings reset.
Yep, good old open open 7-7 defeat Ganon seed for you here today between Wiredwicky of OK Game and Death King 2 of Oops, da war es auch nicht, roughly translated to Oops, it's not there either. So looking forward to this race. This is the Crystal Conference Finals. Here are the Final Four. And yeah, looking forward to this race here, Ben.
Yep, I'm glad your German is stronger than mine. I always thought it was a reference to a Britney Spears song.
Maybe it's that too. I don't know.
And it looks like we are off. And I always like seeing that instant divergence in open seeds. Death King doing the Link's House to Uncle Star, Wiredwicky starting in Sank and heading into Lost Woods.
I saw a pendant over at Eastern and a crystal at Hera. I did not see what desert was. Some arrows on the tree pole for Oops.
Just a piece of hard on Unky here. And a heart container in Lost Woods, which Wiredwicky's going to go ahead and pick up.
Yeah, you don't want to skip a full heart container when it's that easy. Chat saying that Desert Palace was the green pendant, so that's good to know.
Yep, it looks like that's confirmed from our eagle-eyed tracker.
Just to give you a look at how these two teams got here, OK Game, which is Wiredwicky, 2C and Krellbell went 11-3. We're first place in the Palace of Darkness division. They beat Team Moyai 3-1 and Black Lotus 3-2 in their playoff battle. Oops, da war es auch nicht also went 11-3. Were first place in the Thieves Town division. They beat Suba Castlevania Lollipop Chain Reaction 3-0, and they beat Amish Paradise 3-2. So two top teams here, unsurprising in these conference semifinals. So to see Wiredwicky diving into Blind's Hut without a bomb, there's bailed out with some bombs there. You love to see that.
Yeah, it's with 4 checks before you have to worry about that back wall. It's not that dangerous a play, but it always worries me. It stresses me out.
Oh yeah, I hate doing that. I want a bomb going in for sure, but it just feels bad to not get them, you know.
And it looks like we did get a lumberjack check on Death King's side. Just a bug net today.
But then how will we beat Aggo without the net? I thought this was 100% inventory available. Ooh, we got a flute in Kakariko Well. Love to see that early.
Yep, that's just going to make routing a lot more convenient and open up a little extra potential for creativity. And a bottle. Boy, that is a nice well to have.
Gotta love it.
And the algorithm just being extra kind to our runners today serves up some bombs to Death King right before he wanted to head into Chicken Hut anyway.
Just big 20 from Sick Kids. That bottle not paying off right away. But our runners will have the flute coming here out of Kakariko Village. Will be interesting to see where they go with it. Personally, I like to flute directly to 6 if I get the flute in Kakariko. I like to go there right after race game. Knock out that Agina check that can be difficult to route in, especially with the pendant desert. You might not get down there. You might end up last location in something there. Flute makes it a lot more convenient to check that early.
Yeah, I definitely like that play, and especially in a situation like right now where our runners are short on stopping power, which makes Mini Moldorm Cave slightly less attractive as a proposition.
Yeah, it's definitely doable with bombs. Obviously, we've all done it with, we've all beaten Mini Moldorm Cave with bombs a bunch of times, but not many bombs here. Very little margin for error, so we could see that coming for sure.
But before we're too worried about that, Wiredwicky is giving us our first look at library and race game. And speaking of bombs, just sitting there out of reach, taunting you.
Yep. Rip. Yeah, not much in Kakariko other than that cape, other than the, we got the cape, the flute, and a bottle there, so the flute's a nice pull, obviously, but not much otherwise. Wiredwicky not fluting to 6 is going to do Link's house here real quick with a flute, and then going to walk down? That seems odd, but okay. Hey, we are back. Thanks for your patience there.
Yep, I always tell people with as many moving parts as it takes to put these shows on for you, the wonder is not that things sometimes go wrong, it's that they ever go right.
Yes, thanks for your patience, everybody. Chat seems to think that that Wiredwicky pulled a glove out of the dam, perhaps. Is that true? We just saw Death King go back to race game for 20 rupees, perhaps thinking about buying some bombs. That's interesting.
And just a piece of heart in that Agina check that you were talking about before, but yep, Wiki does indeed have the glove, using it to make it just a little quicker to walk up to Eastern.
It's an interesting choice, an early pendant Eastern dip before Saha's closet. Some unconventional routing, I would say, in general, here from Wiredwicky. With There's a book. Interesting. Could this be pointing at Desert Palace for something?
Certainly could be. And I don't hate this Eastern play, just insofar as it is a pendant. So you might as well duck in and see what's there. It is definitely a little odd having it take place before the Saw's Closet check, though.
All right, Death King going to show us our first look at the back of Escape. Neither one of our runners has done mini Moldorm. They are short on bombs. Ooh, we found a lamp in the back of Escape. Nice pull. Oh, that's interesting. Death King, without a good weapon to kill the key rat. There, I was going to say, Death King has the key and the lamp. You'd think that maybe he would go on to Dark Cross, but no bombs, no weapon for that trip there.
Yeah, even with bombs, that key rat moves fast. That's a tricky... Well, I suppose with the lamp, it's not bad.
But with 0 bombs, not going to happen.
So. No. Fortunately, a little trip to the shop will fix that.
Yeah, but we will have an item in Dark Cross because we got both the map and the key early on. You see Wiredwicky in the Eastern Palace dark rooms, headed over towards that vanilla big key chest. Death King has purchased some bombs and will be going to mini Moldorm here.
Yep, relatively late for a first mini Moldorm check, but with as bomb light and indeed weapon light as this seed has been, it stands to reason.
Indeed, everything light, to be honest.
Yeah, a bit of a dry start to our seed today. No, that's a nice find when you've been taking some face shots from Moldorms.
Yeah, right.
Nice fairy drop.
Very good. Oh man, got frame ruled on the second Moldorm there. That's I was gonna say that's 8 bombs or 7 bombs to clear mini Moldorm cave, but the Moldorm coming up big with that 8 bomb drop. Really nice. Good guy, Moldorm.
And Wiki heading to the closet. Let's see what Sorcerer's been hiding from us.
Well, I'll tell you what mini Moldorm's been hiding from us. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, just in case you were worried about what's been left behind there. And pretty much ditto from the Sage, a red boomerang, and that's about it.
Just the okay boomerang there. Death King headed for Ice Rod Cave. Might see one of our runners. You know, this is a good call from Wiredwicky. Has that book. There has been absolutely nothing here. I'm dipping into Desert Palace here every time, I think.
Yep, chat was saying that potentially beatable, but only if we find a weapon inside. I don't think that Landmo is going down to 2 bombs.
Not to 2 bombs, for sure.
Yeah, to some bombs, but that would require some farming. And in answer to a question in chat, this is an open 7/7 seed, so the win condition is the ordinary one. Get 7 crystals, climb a tower, fight a pig.
Wiredwicky gonna have to get lucky with some bombs here. Looks like it's gonna be good. Yeah, nicely done there.
And chat pointing out that Wiki never did get that lamp, so wouldn't be able to make it to Moldorm even if he does find a weapon in here. Or Landmo, rather.
Got Moldorms on the brain. Yeah, so this is both game 1 of the series and the Courage matchup. The 2 Courage players play open. There's a sword there. No boots.
Oh, that's cruel.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cruel. What even is this scene?
Maybe the boots are right here. Nope, but that's a hook shot. That's really nice.
Yeah, that's Paradox Cave, which I have to... I mean, there, Spiral, handful of other locations on the mountain.
Yeah, so that's going to be our next stop here. Wiredwicky probably headed over here to, I would imagine, run down and pick up the blue male, which is sitting there on the ledge, and then gets the flute out. So not going to do that again check. Going to head right up the mountain.
Yeah, well, with 0 bombs, once again, lack of bombs, usually not much of a limiting factor, but today, it's really getting in our runner's way, and Wiki's looking to fix that.
And that is both items that we're aware of in Desert, so no need for Landmo unless it's Ped or if there's something on Saha.
Or indeed, oh yeah, that's what you just said. I was about to say, or in the green pendant. Oh yeah, Saha. That's who gives that to you now, isn't it?
Yes. Wiredwicky gonna do Mini Moldorm Cave before headed up the mountain. That's probably fine. Not gonna find anything in here, obviously, but gonna have a much easier time of it than Death King did with that hook shot. Oh, no bombs. That's why he couldn't do Agina.
Death King, I was about to say having a little trouble with the glitch there using the iframes. Not a glitch, but using iframes. But no, he was just setting up a death warp. He knows what he's doing. These are talented runners.
But yeah, Mountain Trip is going to be in the cards for Wiredwicky here shortly. I imagine that Death King we'll see if Death King peeks up the mountain first before going into Desert.
That looks like Wiki's going to go ahead and check that ice rod cave first, but Death King does indeed decide to go up the mountain. So it's hard to avoid getting all the way up to Spec Rock without this. That's going to be an extra mountain climb under his belt.
Well, it doesn't really, without the hook shot or the mirror, it's not really that big of a deal, right? Because you would rescue the old man and then go and check Spec Rock before you hook shot over to the east side, no matter what. So it's not a huge time difference. We just find a mushroom on the old man. Kids, do not accept strange mushrooms from lonely old men on mountains. That's my PSA for the day. Yeah, both of our runners have been to Ice Rod Cave, and it was nothing important. So.
Yep, and Wiredwicky follows in those same footsteps, doing it in the dark, making some good use of the red boomerang for positioning there.
Oro, that's only if they are that kind of mushroom. They might be poison.
But witches love mushrooms, and let's see what they're giving. Just a single arrow in exchange. That's a raw deal.
All right, Death King is going to get funneled here into Desert Palace. Going to find that hook shot. Going to feel a little feels bad man over there. And Wiredwicky taking an early small lead.
See what's in the top and/or bottom of Paradox Cave here. $300 and a piece of art. Looks like the progression must be hiding in the bottom and/or top.
Death King down to a single heart. Gonna have to be careful here.
Trash, trash, and trash. More trash, and yet more trash.
Wow. So Spiral Cave.
Yeah, I think
Has
that's
to
all
have
we've got
progression.
left.
I think that's all we've got. Oh, neither has done the front of Escape yet.
Oh.
And Dark Cross is in Logic. So is Zora. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So, yeah, a little bit. Still, that is an ugly mountain climbing. Ooh, Death King taking an unfortunate death.
That's a nice place for the ice rod.
Yeah. Not gonna be too far out of the way when you need it, unless Mirror is hiding someplace terrible, like inside.
Like on Laser Bridge. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
The lamp is in back of Escape, which Wiredwicky has not been to yet. Wiredwicky would be, unfortunately, is not using the boomerang to stall these guys first. Makes it out. Whew,
With
boy.
his last bomb, no less.
But we found a bow in Spiral Cave. I'm not sure whether we got all the items out of Eastern or not.
Yeah, I'm afraid I wasn't counting. Whether or not we did, though, I think that front of Escape is looking better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's obviously the play. Oh no, Death King left without getting the hook shot. He might just be buying more bombs. That might be an indication that he wants to try bomb Landmo, which, I don't know, man.
Okay, looks like he's opting for
He's going to Escape. So that's not great. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, not great at all. I don't know why he wouldn't go check the big chest there. That doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. Yeah, unless the boots end up being in Escape, right? But even then, that doesn't make a ton of sense. Like the boots being in Escape would help him out, for sure, because it would keep him away from having to do the mountain, or keep him away from going up and getting very little on the mountain except for the bow. There's a moon pearl in Escape. We need that.
Yeah, but I mean there are. Because that bow in the mountain is hookshot locked, so eventually what he wants is to find this Escape relatively dry, although...
Yeah, but then that hookshot's going to be last location. And hey, SpeedGaming chat, it's your favorite thing. We're getting a 24th minute pedestal check. It's crap.
Yep, Ped's dead, just a little piece of love.
Ped is dead, long live Ped.
And that was $300 in Vanilla Boomerang chest. 2 items left here in Escape.
Wiredwicky going to get his lamp here, and will be able to go and do Dark Cross the easier way. Grinding up Zora money won't be too difficult for our runners because they'll be able to, both of them can Houlihan, which would get them the appropriate amount of money.
All right, just bombs in Zelda's cell, and Death King spending one for a death warp.
Key Rat is a breeze with the hook shot. Oh, just 20 rupees there. Is King Zora the answer?
Yeah, well, it's that. It's potentially boss of Eastern. I wasn't counting.
Yeah, or the green pendant
either.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wiredwicky going to get their Moon Pearl here in the front of Escape. This is a good call here because, well, we know this because going to get that Moon Pearl and we'll be able to fake Flipper and do some more Flippers checks here. Death King is going to Hula Hand first. But yeah, this definitely smells like Aga 1 to me.
Yeah, I was about to say, all we're missing is a sword to cut those curtains.
Yeah, but we might find the boots, for instance, on Zora.
Yep, and in fact, that would be just about the best thing that Death King could find there, because that brings him back to Desert. He gets his sword. He hopefully doesn't bypass that hook shot in the big chest a second time.
Malmo, to answer your question, Hookshot is in the Desert Palace big chest, and we have no idea why Death King skipped it.
But first, a couple of out-of-logic fairy fountain checks, 20 bucks, and a heart container. Sank heart, in fact.
Nice healthy seed so far. 10 hearts, blue mail. The blue boomerang there on Zora Ledge, so won't be coming back for that. That's nice.
Moment of truth on Death King's side. What does the Scamfish have for us today?
Oh, yikes.
Just a piece of heart.
Rude seed. Holy crap.
We're down to a couple of pendant bosses here.
Yeah, so the answer's either we believe the item on I believe there's an item on Armos Knights and Bo Lanmo to get the green pendant. That's what we're down to. Yikes.
And Death King's back in Desert, hopefully gonna pick up that hook shot that he left behind. It'll lead him back up the mountain, which is absolutely nothing, but he's got to get it sooner or later.
Well, the bow is up there.
Yeah, I take that back. You're right.
In Spiral Cave, but that's it. Nothing else up there worth of note. So this is quite a seed here to start. Wiredwicky doing Hobo, which I believe the Death King did not do.
I believe you're correct. It is out of logic, and no sequence break today. Just a piece of heart and a refill for Wiredwicky.
There could not be something on Desert Boss, but Lanmo does have the green pendant. So there could be something there. So I guess there's something there. But the two items in Desert are the hook shot in that big chest, and there's a sword on the torch.
Death King Heading over to the east side of the mountain, he's going to find a bunch of nothing in Paradox Cave and then that bow and spiral. So Wiredwicky definitely likely to find our next piece of progression first out of our two runners after half an hour in the light world in this very rude seed.
Yeah, so we're looking. I believe that there is an item on Armos Knights. I know we found the boot. I know we found the book in there, but that's the only item that I'm sure about that we found in Eastern Palace. But I think probably we're looking for could be the boots there leading to the sword in Desert Palace, which would give us Dark World access through Aga. Also, the hammer could be there, or the mitts, right, which would get us right into the Dark World, albeit without that sword. All right, there was a heart container in the Eastern Palace big chest, and so there is looks like there is an item on Armos, I believe. Yeah, this seed hard required dipping 2 pendant dungeons without the ability to kill either boss. It's really good.
That'd be one way to describe it.
Thanks to 2C, confirmed that there is an item on Armos Knights. And that is where Wiredwicky is headed.
Yeah, that's a much nicer boss fight. Bo Armos versus Bo Lanmos.
Oh, yeah.
And Death King picking up his own bow.
We still could see, like, the mirror here to push us up to Tower of Hera, for instance.
Yeah, that would be pretty unfortunate, although, hey, at least you can Hera pot, right?
At least you can Hera pot, yeah. And you can do the basement, because you've got a fire source.
Yep.
Yeah, no, this is a good point by Krubbo. After all of that, Death King is just like half an Eastern Palace behind Wiredwicky. So here we go.
Yeah, thinking about it, that's about as long as it takes to get through the portion of Desert Palace that he had to double up on. So that's about right. It's easy to mistake relatively small leads for being more significant than they are this early in the race. Not that half an hour is usually considered early, but the way today's been going.
Chad, I think you're wrong. I think that PogChamp is very Pog, first of all. Second of all, to Sleepy Night, actually, the randomizer cannot produce an entirely vanilla seed because the vanilla game has an illegal key placement in Palace of Darkness. There are the boots.
So it's back to Desert for a sword, and then at that point, you can hope against hope that the green pendant has it, or do the much more high percentage play and just go straight to Aga.
I think I would probably go to Bonk Rocks first, because you can get there with a save and quit and then flute over to Desert. But yeah,
that's fair.
After all that, if Bonk Rocks has the hammer. All right, well, that's good at least.
So that's that's a required dip into desert, and although not hard required, a strongly encouraged double dip. God, what a rude seed! Just to get the sword to do your aga play.
Yeah, strong work by the randomizer here. If you're rooting for the seed, you're coming out strong so far. Yeah, looks like Wiredwicky is headed to Landmo, which makes sense from here.
Yeah, it's one guaranteed item on the green pendant, and well, I suppose we've already had a ped check, so we know that's dead, but... Still, it's not that far to go, and you can hope for a mirror to route in the turn-in with pod. Even if you can't, you've got that flute, it's not that far.
Yeah, we'll see if Wiredwicky goes for some NMG bow strats. Not many arrows, but might try to get a few shots in.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you much, and unless you think you're going somewhere that requires the bow, you might as well spend the arrows here. There are plenty of places to refill them. Yeah,
the bow can save a little bit of time in Aga Tower, for instance, but not much. Can't light torches with the flute. Lamp works better.
Yeah, but the flute sounds better.
That's true. Although I do find the lamp sound effect very satisfying.
You're not wrong. Honestly, this is one of the all-time great games for sound effects that just make you feel happy.
Yeah. And no bolero of fire in this game. Looks like Death King has the same thought here, headed to kill Landmo for completeness.
Yeah, you gotta wonder after all this nonsense, knowing that your opponent had to deal with all the same silliness that you did, how do you even feel about this seed? How do you feel about where you are, ahead, behind? What's going through your thoughts here?
Yeah, like, I think I would, you know, it is really hard to say as we see Wiredwicky turning in that green pendant immediately. That makes sense. No mirror, so you can't do it right after Aga. If this is the hammer, that would feel really dumb. Yeah, man, you can't feel good about it, but you know, you probably shouldn't feel that bad about it.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with the thoroughness. Either one of two different items could allow them to bypass Aga altogether, so it's the safe play, but not a bad one for all that.
So we'll get Dark World access in the low 40 minutes here after an Aga play, after I believe full clearing the entire Light World, everything that we had available before we go there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if either of our runners skipped something that the other did, but I don't think so. I think that is a true last location Aga play on both sides.
Wiredwicky tried to take off that cape a little bit early. Death King getting a couple bow shots in. Pretty good.
Yep. Wiredwicky happy he saved some arrows from the Landmo fight here. They make this very ugly double chain guard fighter sword fight just a little more manageable.
And nice rewards there from those chain guards. A full magic and a fairy.
They're good sports, those chain guards. And in answer to our question, chat, Lumberjack was the bug net. So our runners are going to have to do a slight sequence break and defeat Aghanim with the fighter sword.
For those new to the league playoffs, there was a question in chat about what the pendant, the courage pendant players means. All that means is that each player on a team is assigned to one of the three pendants. In the playoffs, the courage players play each other, the power players play each other, and the wisdom players play each other. And then it also determines what modes you play. So the courage player, these two modes will play in an open 7-7 match. I can never remember which one is which, but the power ones, I believe, is the second one. They play casual boots. And then the wisdom players play each other, and theirs is a mini mystery mode for the first 3 games of the series. If necessary, then the teams choose which 2 players play games 4 and 5.
Yes, indeed. And games 4 and 5, I did just check the league document to make sure. It is the wisdom, which is casual boots, and then the power, which is the mini mystery mode.
I can never remember which order those are. I was going to backwards.
Well, that's why I checked. But yes, the games 4 and 5 are determined in the same way, where the players get to choose some of the modes, some of the settings, and then the others are determined randomly in games 3, 4, and 5, I should say. And Dorkmaster Fleck in chat throwing down some links for you there so that you can check all the deets yourself.
Look at that. So I feel like the early Dark World is going to be loaded, right?
I think, just given how trolly this seed's been, I think the worst thing that it could give our runners right now would be something like Flippers in Pod, which opens up the rudest possible way to access the rest of the Dark World.
Oh, you don't need the flippers to get... You've got a glove and the hook shot, so the flippers aren't necessary to get over.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You are absolutely correct.
But yeah, to go over to Western Dark World via the North route, you need the hook shot and either a glove or the flippers.
Well, in that case, we've definitely gotta have a hammer in Hype Cave or someplace, right?
Oh yeah, the rudest possible place for the hammer. Yeah.
Yep. And then Mitts in Big Chest of Thieves Town.
Of course.
Speaking of rude, go ahead.
I was gonna say, that's not the rudest possible place. I overspoke. The first chest in Swamp, Vitreous, Pyramid Fairy, but Hype Cave is a pretty rude place for it like this, in this kind of a seed.
Yeah, true enough. Lots of nastiness this seed can still throw our way, but Wiki about to check the first of our new checks here on Pyramid.
Just 3 bombs, yeah. Okay, so we've got red crystals. I believe that was at Turtle Rock and Misery Mire. So we are going to need that. We are going to need that ice rod, which is up on the floating island, which is nice.
I do believe you're correct, and Chat seems to think that last pendant was in Thieves Town. I didn't catch it, but we'll see if our tracker can confirm that for us as Wiki makes his way over to the catfish.
Thieves Town pendant is the worst pendant. But yeah, go ahead.
Sometimes it's not bad if those 3 items are sitting in the front of the dungeon, then you can pretty easily leave the rest behind. But what are the odds that this seed suddenly decides to be that nice?
Well, I mean, all of the stuff has to be somewhere, right? Disrespecting the shield from Catfish. Responding to Krellbell in chat, I also agree that Wiredwicky is making the right call and dodging pod here. Without the hammer, you're basically you're gambling that the hammer is in there, or otherwise almost certainly committing yourself to a double dip of pod. So I like taking this over and doing the whole big loop first.
Yeah, I tend to agree. If pod does wind up being where some kind of hard required progression is, it's quick enough to get back there, and there's likely to be something else that you want in these checks that he's prioritizing anyway.
Just 10 arrows there on Bumper Ledge, so the cape has done its job, giving us Aga access.
And Wiki opting to skip the front of Skullwoods for the moment at least. This I'm not as big a fan of. I feel like when you've got your Dark World access the long way, it pays to be a little more thorough, and that front of Skull can have progression more often than you might think.
I 100% agree. I treat those front of Skullwoods checks as overworld checks most of the time anyway, especially in this case where this is your Dark World access. And always find a Master Sword in the brewery, and Death King is skipping out on Catfish, so making up a little bit of time there.
Yeah, that's a skip that I could kind of go either way on. It's Red Cane there in Chest Game.
Hey, there we go. Get to do some shenanigans lately. Or later.
Yeah, there's never going to be a good time to do Catfish, but if you're feeling behind, at some point you got to skip something, and that is a long way to walk for one chest.
And that was and that was the best time to do Catfish, right? Because you've already done all of Zora, and you're walking by there. You're never going to have a better time to do it than there. So, it is what it is. But Death King also skipping out on the front of Skull Woods, interestingly enough.
And that's a map that Wiredwicky just found. Always, when you're in Thieves Town with no hammer, you're always trying to keep an eye out for that map, that compass, and that small key. And so far, we've seen 2 of them. So it's looking likely that we're going to be orphaning an item in the big chest here.
Yeah, I don't agree with this. I think that, there are a bunch of items back there, but Thieves Town is pretty easy to get back to. You have to, unless the hammer is down here, especially because Wiredwicky already checked PED and knows that it's garbage.
Well, we're gonna see if Death King follows suit, but with what is that? 3 items in the back of Thieves Town, I think.
I believe so. Yeah. And one of them is gonna be in the big chest.
Yep, Death King also heading towards the back here. So whatever time is saved or lost in this play, both of our runners are going to save or lose it together.
Yeah, if you're Wiredwicky here, you want Death King to be making all of the same choices as you do, because you've got a little bit of a lead. So makes sense to me.
Yep, and as bad as this seed feels, Wiredwicky's pretty much been making all the right calls, even the ones that didn't pay out. It's hard to imagine your opposition doing too much better than you did, and that's $20 in the maiden cell.
Yep.
But it's really easy for us to sit in the comms booth and say that. It's harder to feel it when you're in the runner's chair.
Oh yeah, I went 0-7 in the league, so don't listen to anything I say for sure. Textbook blind script fight there by Wiredwicky. Really nicely done. And you get a blue cane for your trouble.
Yep, so Thieves Town, entirely skippable. Won't harm any of our runners since the other did the exact same play, but that always feels bad when you've full cleared well, not even full cleared. You've cleared a pendant dungeon, leaving an orphaned item behind.
Yeah, but that's gonna be a last location in that big chest for sure, if it is anything of worth. We know Pet is dead because Wiredwicky checked it. The ice rod is also not in the big chest. It's on the floating island up on the mountain. We saw it. Ooh, tempered sword. All right.
Yeah, that's nice to have. Wiredwicky putting in a quick map check and then gonna give us our first look at the inside of Hype Cave.
Quack medallion. This has the possibility of being very hype. But it isn't. So.
Yep. Well, we haven't gotten a chance to see which both of the medallion lock dungeons are required crystal dungeons today, so that Quake could come in handy, but in the meantime, Pod does seem like the obvious play. And
Yep.
Yep, that's going to require a save and quit with no mirror, no hammer, and
no flippers.
I guess you could fake flip your way across Lake Hylia if you really wanted to.
Yeah, you could.
But you could do a lot of silly things if you were of a mind to.
This is faster anyway, I think.
Yeah, it absolutely
it's close
is.
either way. Certainly with the boots, it's really close.
Yeah, I think it absolutely is faster. That swimming speed all that way, plus the time and resources you spend to set up a fake flipper. No,
I think to do fake flipper in the dark world there, you would need a fairy revival too, I believe. So,
I believe it's doable with just arrows and bombs.
But there isn't it's doable with arrows and bombs in the light world there because there's the ladder, but there isn't a ladder in the dark world there on the north shore of Lake Hylia. So I'm not sure that it's possible. Maybe it is.
This sounds like something that I'll have to test in the practice ROM later. In the meantime, Wiredwicky paying the extortionist monkey for some pod access.
Death King gonna go see that pet is dead. Oh, good. Just gonna pull it. The blind pet pull. That's all for you, chat. The blind pet still pull for the memes.
Here's hoping. I'm definitely of a mind that if you can blind pull, you do for the memes, but...
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. What you lose in time, you gain in honor doing this play.
Absolutely. Although I do like the going to ped with all 3 pendants and then getting chat all hyped up for a blind ped pull and then just reading it and leaving. So yeah, this has been an incredibly linear siege so far. We'll see if progression is here in Palace of Darkness or whether it is hiding in the front of Skull Woods.
Yeah, that's about all we have left to check, and Wiredwicky doing a relatively slow death warp.
Yeah, kids,
what you gotta do.
If you need to do this death warp, go back into the conveyor belt room and get hit by spikes because they do 1 damage regardless of what armor you're wearing. By linear, Cool Blue Reason, what I mean is not that, like, it's just there haven't been many decision points, for them to make. There haven't been many opportunities for divergence. All the decisions that they've made have kind of, funneled them into the same spots. Not that you can literally draw a straight line from, point A to point B. Well, as you should probably know, sarcasm doesn't read over the internet. And besides, I'm going to explain it to somebody who may not know what I'm talking about.
Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, Wiki heading into the back of Pod where...
There's our hammer.
There is the hammer.
So going to Pod early probably would have been the right choice there anyway.
Yep, definitely don't fault him for not making that choice.
Oh, and there's the mirror. Yikes. Womp womp. Pod with the goods. Yep, Wiredwicky thinking there for a second and then realizing that he's got 2 keys, so there is definitely a key in Harmless Hellway. Can skip it.
Yep, and believe he utilizing that same key
fire
logic.
rock. Holy crap!
Well, that's got to make you feel good for skipping the front of Skull.
No, I still think that was a bad move. Process over results. I still think it was smart. Would have been smart to check it.
Oh, I absolutely agree, but it turned out to be a productive move, if not the mathematically correct move. But as I was starting to say before we got excited about frauds, Wiredwicky walking past that vanilla big key chest again, we know it does have to be a key for a key situation, so not worth spending the time on.
So all of a sudden, we are the flippers and potentially a medallion and the Titan's mitts from Go Mode here.
Yeah, that sounds right. And with that hammer in tow, I'm trying to think what that... Well, with what we found in here in tow, I'm trying to think what that even opens up. Skull Woods is the obvious play. It's another clearable crystal dungeon.
Oh man, if the Titan's mitts are vanilla in the Thieves Town Big Chest, yikes.
Ooh. Yeah, that would be rough. Because yeah, that's about all the hammer really opens up, and then the mirror opens up those nice trolley orphaned mirror checks, Cave 45 and Graveyard Ledge, when you've already gotten just about everything around them.
And Bombos Tablet.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, and Tower of Hera for that matter. That's another fully clearable crystal dungeon. So we've got a couple of options going forward. I think in this situation, I'd prefer Skull Woods with the option of heading over to Graveyard Ledge after to another mountain climb, but...
Yeah, I want to try to find the mitts before I head up the mountain again, I think.
Yeah, I tend to agree. But other than that, it's pretty even math. 3 checks in either direction, the 2 in the dungeon, and then the 1 overworld check that you can route with it.
They're not going straight to Swamp Palace because they don't have the flippers. We can't fake flipper in Swamp Palace quite yet.
Yeah, give Kern time to let the man work.
Right? Yep. Yeah. Don't have the mitts yet. We've all done that.
Absolutely. it feels bad going or spending a couple screen transitions this way, but you got to do what you got to do.
But yeah, I agree. I think you do Skullwoods here because now you can do it back to front, which when you haven't checked any of it, you definitely want to do this from back to front. You know, give yourself a chance to find the mitts back here before you're going up the mountain. I am not, though. I guess I might, if I don't find anything here, I might go check Graveyard Ledge as well and King's Tomb. But I would probably not. I probably wouldn't go and check, like, for instance, the Thieves Town Big Chest. If something is there, we're last locationing it.
Yeah, unless you're really feeling behind and you feel like you have to gamble to catch up, that Thieves Town Big Chest feels bad. And Chad is pointing out another check that's in the offing, which would be the Desert Tablet.
Yeah, Bombo. Try to leave that, maybe. You hope you can leave that to lump it in with Swamp Palace.
Yeah, Swamp Palace, or potentially do that at the end of a Smith chain.
Yeah. Here we go with a Mothula fight. No magic left, so Tempered Sword, pretty good. Probably the best weapon for it, actually. 4 slashes.
Yep. When he decides not to be a coward and gets off those spikes anyway, and there he goes.
Yeah, don't spin, though. It doesn't make sense to spin with Tempered Sword. There's one item, 10 arrows.
And yep, fun fact, in the vanilla game, for whatever reason, Moth did not take damage. I'm sure it has to do with damage tables. Did not take damage from Butter Sword or Tempered Spins.
The reason for that is that spikes do Gold Sword damage. And they wanted Mothula obviously do not take damage from the spikes, and so they just made it not give you, not take damage to the gold sword, because you, in the vanilla game, you don't have the gold sword when you're going to fight Mothula anyway, so it didn't matter. Only really comes up in rando.
That makes sense. But in the randomized game, I do know the clever devs corrected that by making Butter Sword and Tempered Sword spins just do tempered slash damage, meaning there's no advantage to spinning with tempered.
We found our other item here in the vanilla big key chest. It is a shield. You can have gold sword on Moth in vanilla, but it is not intended. So that's what I mean, right? The developers don't expect you to do that because they expect you to do Moth much earlier than that.
Yep, and I suppose even in the unlikely event that you do that, you could always do it entirely with Fire Rod. It would just be obnoxious.
All right, Wiredwicky going to show us Graveyard Ledge. Still doesn't have the mitts. And King's Tomb here.
Yep, I definitely like the play. There's never going to be any better time to do it. And
definitely not.
Just bombs here in Graveyard Ledge as Death King finishes up his own Moth fight.
I think his went a little bit faster than Wicky's, but it was close either way.
And speaking of Butter Sword, it was hiding in the King's Tomb. Bit of an incremental damage upgrade. Nice to have, but not something you'd ever go out of your way for. And Wiki opting to be a little thorough rather than go up the mountain now. He's going to be checking, I'm going to assume, Bombos Tablet and then maybe Cave 45 if that turns up dry. What does this driest of tablets have today? It remains dry with only a big 20. It'll be interesting to see what Death King does coming out of King's Tomb here. I think you can definitely make the argument climbing the mountain without those mitts feels bad, but you can definitely make the argument for going where the check density is and where the crystals are leading you. So this opportunity for him to pick up some time. And yep, he is going up the mountain as Wiredwicky's play to Cave 45 turns up dry. So Death King, after trailing for most of this fairly linear seed, potentially pulling ahead here if he can stay away from those out-of-the-way checks.
All right, so both our runners headed up towards Tower of Hera. I think this trying to think, this might be their only play at this point. I guess there are a couple out-of-the-way mirror checks down on the down in the overworld, but this makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah, well, I think think you were having some technical difficulties at the time, but Wiredwicky did just check Cave 45 and Bombo's tablet before heading up here, which is how our two runners are so close.
We just found the flippers. Yeah, there we go. So that puts Swamp Palace squarely in line for our runners here coming up.
Yep. Also does make Ice Palace a strong possibility, especially with that red cane.
Still no mitts for Ice Palace.
Oh, you're right. My mistake.
Both of our runners doing the spin speed Harapot. I don't know why you buffer this. It's really easy to just keep trying.
What's even easier is to do it with bombs like a coward, which is what I do. Oh, and now I feel bad that I said that. I thought that was a self-burn, and then why?
That's interesting, though. The way if you've got the boots and you're going to do that bomb setup, just you don't need to even look for the pixel. Just bonk off of that bottom peg, and it puts you right on the correct pixel. We will have an item in Hera basement, and the small key here on Moldorm. 2 slashes from a gold sword, and down he goes. Yeah, there's definitely an item in the basement because the basement cage had the big key, and then both of the next floor up. The map and the compass were also there, so it's coffee break time, everybody. Oh, Death King, noping out, gonna do Spike Cave.
Yep, I think I don't know, odd to see him skipping coffee break, but doing this. I feel like if you piece out of coffee break, you might as well just go straight to Swamp House, yeah.
Yeah, either do both of these or neither of them. I agree.
Yeah, because if one of them does hold progression, you want to leave them together to potentially route back in together later when you're funneled into them.
Death King gonna move us over to Swamp Palace here. Probably may check Bombo's tablet and K45 while he's in the area, which would be a little bit more efficient than Wiredwicky, but would give back some of that time.
Yep, looks like he's pulling out that mirror, so at the very least he's going to do Swamp Palace first.
Yeah, I mean that's the move for sure. Yeah, if you're gonna do 45 and Bombos, you do it after Swamp Palace. That makes a lot of sense because then if the mitts are in here, then you're in go mode. Potentially, at least, pending medallions.
Yep, what we like to call Schrodinger's go mode. But I do wonder whether this affects the mental math of whether you do left side swamp, and if you do, whether you do it first or put it off until after Argus.
That's a good question. I wasn't, by the way, to answer a question in chat, I'm ignoring the ice rod because both of our runners know where it is. The ice rod is over on the floating island. They cannot get over to see what the TR medallion is because there are the mitts. So pending some medallions, we are in fact, I guess, in Schrodinger's go mode here. Classic mitts in swamp.
Yep, and the nice thing about those mitts is that once Death King gets done with Swamp, he will be able to go and check what those medallion requirements are sooner rather than later. But with only Quake out of the 3 medallions being found, it is pretty likely that he will need at least one other medallion.
Yeah, there's like a 1 out of 9 shot that both dungeons are the same medallion, or are not that they're both the same, but that they are both the same medallion, the same particular medallion. I think 1 out of 9.
That sounds right. And that's a map here in the canal chest, so there will be at least one item on the left side of Swamp, but Death King is skipping it at least for now. Meanwhile, Wiredwicky only a few screens behind and with a couple more checks under his belt.
There's the big key and red mail there. They answering a question in chat. They have not checked Hookshot Cave yet because they just found the mitts here in Swamp. So I imagine our runners, once they get out of Swamp Palace, both are going to mirror and go right over to Misery Mire here to find that medallion really quick. If it's Quake, you finish it. Got 3 other quick checks while you're over there. And then up Death Mountain.
Yeah, you definitely want that knowledge of whether Mire is clearable before you make that mountain climb.
All right, Death King with most of that quick kill. Wasn't the actual quick kill, but it was good technique.
Yeah, those Argus poke strats, not as easy as they look.
They definitely are not. Down goes Argus. We get 10 arrows there, so we do have 2 items left in Swamp Palace between the left side and the big chest. To the Titan 84. Yeah, we definitely did. Mitts turn up in Swamp Palace a lot, and it's always annoying.
Yeah, of course, we've also been saying lots of things, and the fabled commentary curse is as much a function of how much speculation we're doing as how accurate we are.
Ben, let me have this. I agree with Death King here going and checking Bombo's tablet here. It's really quick. It might be a vanilla Bombo's medallion, you never know. Not sure if Death King got spooky there. Looked like it. Ether, so no go mode yet. We still need that Ether medallion.
Yep, we do have, like you say, 3 quick checks right here. Nothing in the shed. Let's see what Checkerboard has for us.
Now here's a question. Do you go up and do TR now, or do you do Ice Palace first?
I think if it's me, I do Ice Palace first. It's not that much longer with Icebreaker to full clear it as opposed to go moding it. And you can still hope to find Ether in there and be able to save yourself a mountain climb.
Death is headed up the mountain. I think I agree with you. I think I would go do Ice Palace first. It's pretty close either way.
Yeah, I definitely think you can make either choice and not be wrong.
It's true that they don't know whether they can get to into TR, but they need that information, and there are 6 other checks up here. So, you know, you're basically it's the knowledge of getting the TR medallion, or not the knowledge of knowing the TR medallion versus the time of an extra climb. He'll also get the ice rod up here.
Yeah, I suppose the other thing to take into account is that if TR is indeed completable, that is one of our 5-6 crystals.
That's true too. The other one is Misery Mire, though. So,
oh, yeah, true.
So it kind of doesn't matter. There's Bombos. Could that be the key under the mat?
Yeah.
Looks like Wired is making the same choice here. Nobody grabbed the ice rod because this is the first chance that they've had to get it. This is our first trip up to Dark Death Mountain.
All right, Hookshot Cave coming up empty. Death King's gonna grab that ice rod, no better time to do it, and then see whether he'll be using it now or later. Moment of truth. We're gonna be clearing out Turtle Rock.
So, Ether on Laser Bridge, Ether in Iced Tea. Yeah, love it when the key's under the doormat.
Yep. And yeah, almost anywhere that Ether could be hiding at this point is going to be right along the critical path. So we're looking at potentially a pretty linear end to this pretty linear seed.
Yeah, there are only a couple places that it could be off there. It could be in that Thievestown big chest, which would be very rude. Could be anywhere on the Smith chain at this point. Could be in Left Side Swamp, which neither of them checked.
Yeah, that's very true. So you're not wrong. This seed does have a couple more potential curveballs it could be throwing at us.
What held them up from going up to Death Mountain was that they didn't get the mitts until Swamp Palace just a few minutes ago.
Yep, whereas the light side of Death Mountain was done relatively early.
But yeah, so far there hasn't been a ton of opportunities for our runners to make meaningful divergence here, and when there have been opportunities for divergence, they didn't really happen. So.
Yep, the big difference makers so far have been very early in the seed. Death King bypassing the hook shot in big chest of desert and having to double dip that, which gave Wiredwicky the lead, and then. Not too terribly long ago, Wiredwicky being a little thorough and doing some orphaned mirror checks that Death King routed a little more efficiently, putting Death King, as of right now, just a couple screens ahead.
Yeah, this is still razor thin, and this lead could change hands a number of times before this race is over. So we got one item, 2 small keys, and the big key here in the front of Turtle Rock. I think you definitely check Lava Chest here.
Yeah, it's nice to skip when you can, but it doesn't take so much time. Even when you're only one item from go mode, I don't think you ever skip it unless you're entirely go moded.
I agree. And even then, sometimes when you're in go mode, you might skip it. Or you might have to check it because of keys and because of the big key might be in there. A necessary small key might be in there. I guess a necessary small key can't be in there, but could be important.
Yeah. If you haven't found the big key yet, you definitely don't skip it. And chat pointing out they're close enough to full clear. Maybe you check it just for silvers. I think it's seldom worth it to check for silvers, just because if you're that close to full clear, you got to be thinking you might be behind and can't afford to spend any time.
Do you turn into a robot at some point in Blossom Story? I started it but never finished it.
Well, that's not a game that I've ever booted up, so I'm the wrong person to ask. Maybe chat knows.
It's basically Zelda. That was definitely a misquake there. That game is a Blossom Story, I think it's what it's called, or Blossom Quest, something along those lines, which is where Wiredwicky sprite is from. Oh man, I didn't even intend misquake to be a pun. But I just thought, like, no, you just used Quake accidentally. But your hatred of puns fuels me and gives me sustenance. So, whatever.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm not allowed to make dad jokes anymore. Since I'm not actually a father, that would be a faux pas.
Nah, I like it. I like it. That's good. Puns are the highest form of humor. Don't at me.
Now, Arizona recently legalized the highest form of humor, but it doesn't fully become legal until March.
All right, Laser Bridge, what do we have for us here today? Just a blue rupee. Here's our small key.
Interesting seeing Death King line these up to do them bootsless, which I typically find a little more difficult and doesn't really save you a meaningful amount of time.
Well, it does if you're not confident with the boot setup, you know. So. Oh man, I love that swag Samaria strat. It's so good.
Speaking of boot strats, and strats that don't save you that much time, but they just look so cool.
Yeah. So we will be getting an item on Trinex here. Not sure if it's progression. Our only item that we're looking for at this point is Ether.
Yep, but we've still got all of Smith Chain.
Oh man.
Ooh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, if you let this Trinex fight get away from you in the early offing, those heads can start to juke something awful.
Yeah, DK letting Wiredwicky pick up a little decent amount of time here. The suboptimal Trinex fight. Wiredwicky's going much smoother. Execution matters, kids.
In a race this close, it absolutely does. And with Butter Sword, that optimal...
There's our Ether Medallion, though. Hard to interrupt.
Yeah, it is.
At 128, 40-something, Death King 2 followed quickly by Wiredwicky is in go mode, and we have an execution fight race the rest of the way. It's going to be down to execution and down to Ganon's tower routing. That's what we've got going on. So this is a whole new race at this point.
Yep. And the rest of this seed up until GT is going to be what we call a Song of Ice and Mire.
But yeah, that's about a 13 to 15 second difference or so. Both of our runners going to Ice Palace next.
Yep, Death King heading into the portal at about 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 30 seconds. Yep,
Yeah, about
15 seconds almost on the dot.
I'm glad they decided to do these in the same order because it's easier to tell who's ahead now.
Chat pointing out chance for incidental silvers in ice, but Death King doesn't think it's a chance worth taking, at least when it comes to killing penguins. Wiredwicky has different ideas, though.
I disagree with this. You go mode this hard. Oh, there's the big key, though. That might save Death King a little bit of time now. Death King doesn't need to hit the switch now before icebreaking. But will anyway, for some reason.
Yeah, I'd like to wax Theory Crafty about what's better here, but to be perfectly honest, I just always hit the switch because it requires less thinking. That
is definitely true, and I don't want to trivialize that. The rule of thumb tends to be, Death King giving us some icebreaker trouble. Wiredwicky first try, lead change. Death King did not check pen gators, so does not have the big key. Not necessary in here, but. Check this. Death King pulls back ahead, not checking any of these chests.
Yep, Wiredwicky committing to be a little more thorough and hoping for those silvers, has been doing all of the optional checks here.
Yeah, I have to disagree with that at this point.
Yeah, my typical feeling is you check things that are on the same room if they don't require you to kill anything or do anything. But Wiredwicky clearly feels different.
We're gonna have to ask him about this. I gotta think, because this is the league semifinals, right? Our runners have to be confident with a silver list fight at this point.
Yeah, and you wonder, is the math changed by your opponent, whether you feel ahead or behind? If you feel like maybe you're a little bit ahead and you can afford to spend a little bit of time to solidify your lead potentially, I don't know.
You didn't get into go mode until right before 1 hour 30. You have to go,
Yeah.
Silvers are not that much of a time save. Yeah, MG Weirdo, he spent more time looking for silvers here in Ice Palace than they would have saved him in GT.
Yeah, and especially when you already have Butter Sword, a lot of the time that silver saves you. If you're sitting on Master Sword, that is a significant time save.
Sure,
on Butter,
absolutely.
Not so much.
Yeah. Silvers are good for Viddy, but you have Butter Sword and Cape, so they're not, again, they don't save a whole ton of time there.
Yeah, and boots on top. You can dash through those eyeballs with no problem.
I think Wiredwicky did not get spooky there. I think he hesitated just a little bit before picking up the rock and getting into the portal. So I don't think that he will have that spooky action glitch. No bird toss from Death King.
Nor from Wiredwicky. Now, that is something that I do if it's me, but that's why I'm an open league scrub.
See, I don't know that I'd do it in a playoff race.
No, I probably wouldn't either. But, you know, that would require me making the playoffs to make that decision.
Like, as I said earlier, I went 0-7 this season, so. Or 0-5, I guess. Go long shots.
And as chat points out, DK already gave us blind ped. He's paid his meme tax for the day.
And we have a Godmire. And you know what? For all we were just saying about those checks that Wiredwicky made in Ice Palace, he's a screen behind, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is one of those races that's going to come down to execution, potentially GT big key placement and routing, but definitely lots of chances for the lead to change here. Could come down to something as this close. It could come down to something as simple as who gets more triples in a Silverless Ganon fight. Or, you know, who muscle memories their crystal switches and
oh yeah,
has to turn around.
And Wiredwicky did get spooky, the spooky setup.
Wiredwicky pulling out that cape, dashing through those eyes, getting the last couple done with slashes, and pulling out the arrows for a nice, quick end to this Vitreous fight.
They're the silvers. So, whoops.
So there is virtually nothing left in the item pool that could make much of a difference. Half magic would be nice, but you don't need it.
So here we go with the Ganon's Tower Big Key guessing game. As Wiredwicky is headed up to Ganon's Tower, there are 22 locations in the basement of Ganon's Tower where the big key can be. So put a number between 1 and 22 in the chat. And if the chest is in that, or the big key's in that chest in the order in which Wiredwicky checks them, then you win some internet points, the most important thing in the world.
Yep, real, genuine, fake internet points, which can be exchanged for valuable cash and prizes anywhere genuine fake internet points are accepted.
Which, just to be clear, is absolutely nowhere. Wiredwicky back in PowerPoint mode a little bit. Hopefully that will clear up before the big key guessing game.
Yep, meanwhile, Death King spent a little bit of time finishing off Viddy with Butter Sword instead of arrows, picking up a little bit, going through the Turtle Rock portal, which is a little bit quicker than going up through Super Bunny as Wiki did.
Get those last second guesses in. $43 points to the winner.
And we will be going by Wiredwicky's count, even if Death King winds up finding it first through route divergence. 2 small keys in Hope Room, but Wiki opts to head to the left rather than continue on the right-hand side. Just $50 on Bob's Torch. That's check number 3.
So this could be the race right here if the big key were over to the right, and Death King, I guess, and if Death King mirrors out, does the Dark Magician where you mirror out of the of this room right here that Wiredwicky's in. 4, 5, 6, and 7. The compass. Death King has that mirror out, so he will be doing the so-called Dark Magician strat, right? Where you go left to start, clear out this room, then mirror and go do the right side. Chest number 8, Wiredwicky, that is the Magic Pounder. And remember, even if Death King finds the chest first over here, we are going to take the number of Wiredwicky here. Chest number 9 for Wiredwicky coming up. Just a piece of heart.
Yep. Meanwhile, Death King about to enter the Vanilla Compass room in just a moment here. 4 potential places for that big key to be hiding.
Oh, and there it is.
Ooh.
Death King taking the lead. It's 10, 11, 12, 13 for Wiredwicky.
Here's hoping you bet high, because Wiki is...
That's going to be 21, probably.
Almost certainly.
Always feels bad when it comes down to GT routing, you know?
Yeah. But if what we wanted was a pure test of skill with no gambling involved, we'd be doing normal NMG speedruns.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Wiki gives Bob a high five and then drops down to an Ice Armos fight as Death King enters his gauntlet.
Silvers make Ice Armos pretty trivial. As Death King starts through the gauntlet here. Silvers make this pretty straightforward. Nice shot there, all the way across the room. So these checks for Wiredwicky are going to be 18, 19, 20, and 21, depending on what order he does them in. Probably that the chest with the big key is going to be the last one.
Yep, since that's the one that causes the floor to drop out from under you.
Oh no, Wiredwicky's almost out of magic. Gonna have to use a bomb here. Nicely done, though. Death King landing 2 of those silver arrows, so doesn't quite get the 1 cycle on land mode 2. And yeah, 21 is going to be the number for the big key guessing game. So congratulations to Plumeria Knight, who guessed 21 first. you get 43 points. Also, GG's to the Red Herring, Destal 21, Airbomb 24, Mr. Mechamoose, and Arterol for getting 5 points each for guessing the correct spot. Again, that's 43 imaginary internet points, the most important thing in the world. GG's.
Yep, as we're seeing in this particular race, it's not necessarily better to be lucky than good, but if you can be lucky and good, so much the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Death King bonking over that gap doesn't actually save you any time, but it feels good to do. We're so used
I
to
like that bonk. It's great.
Yep. We're so used to bonks being a bad thing in this game. It's fun to do it on purpose now and again. Ooh, and Moldorm getting his licks in before the end here, knocking
Good old
Death King down.
Trolldorm.
But it will take more than that to evaporate Death King's lead as we move into the final phases of this race. He has to fight a triple wizard and then a big blue pig before declaring victory.
Oh, that was weird. I feel like Wiredwicky got a spin and a slash in on that Moldorm, and it didn't die. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, oops, all dungeons for here. That's 2 on the first cycle in Agatu. 3. Ooh, just a miss. 4 and 5 there. Just one more. 6. And Death King is headed into the fight with the big pig.
Wiki having to be a little careful with his magic here, but lights that final torch.
I was without hearing that sound clue, I was a little worried about that. That looked pretty tight for that despawn. If you go up those stairs at the same time that the door chime plays, you despawn all of the sprites here in Ganon's Tower. Have to mirror out and start again.
Yep, that would be a rude end to a rude race. Meanwhile, Death King getting those nice dash pokes in with Butter Sword and Silver, as this should be a nice quick pig fight.
Not entirely sure what Wiredwicky is looking for in chests. But yeah, Death King already into phase 3 of the Ganon fight. Even opens the last chest. I like that. Death King going for gets the double arrow there, and then plus you get then got Torch Glitch as well.
And that was 4 silver arrows to the dome. Death King has but to cross a bridge to declare victory here. Get your GGs in chat. Death King does indeed finish in first place with an official race time of 1 hour, 48 minutes, and 2 seconds. And we are joined by Death King. It's going to have to be a very quick interview. We do have Chrono Trigger Jets of Time next here on SpeedGaming. Death King, GG's.
GG.
Yeah, this was quite a seed here as we see Wiredwicky falling into the Ganon fight. I have to imagine.
Yes.
I have to imagine both of you felt behind most of the time.
I guess so. At least I can say it was like this. A triple dip to desert doesn't really make you comfortable with seed.
No, I can't imagine. But that light world was absolutely brutal. It was a pretty linear seed, to be honest, but there were a lot of bits here. So unfortunately, we are being told that we do need to go. So thank you for popping in here,
Okay.
Death King. GG's to you, and good luck in the rest of the series here against OK Game. So thanks everybody. We are going to have to cut for some Chrono Trigger Jets of Time coming up here on Speed Gaming Prime here in just a minute. So stick around for that and check out more League action here in the next couple of days. So thanks to Madewalk Herd for tracking for us, and thanks to Ben Creighton as well for the co-coms.
And big thanks to both our runners. Give them a follow and stay tuned for Chrono Trigger Jets of Time.
Thanks everybody.